All right. So in chapter 2, we are focusing on budgets. Okay, what is a budget?
It's
A set amount of money that you plan.
Set amount of money you plan on spending. Okay, good. What else? I hear a whole lot of rumbling from this side of the room.
Something you don't want to exceed a limit.
Okay, so maybe something you don't want to exceed in the expenses side. We probably want to exceed it on the sales side, the revenue side, right? It'd be great to bring in more money. What else?
Roadmap.
It's a roadmap, yeah. Have any of you ever heard your manager say, like, everyone's gonna clock out because I have no more labor dollars?
Yeah.
Okay. I have no more labor dollars. My labor budget is spent. Okay. It's our plan of how much we're allowed to spend. Okay. Then again, if our sales are way up, then we have to justify why our costs might be up as well. Okay. Typically, when we are budgeting, we are using a forecasting model. Okay. We are forecasting based on what has happened in the past to predict the future. Okay. Who else forecasts? The weather. Are they always correct? No. Same thing with us, right? Sometimes we make a forecast and then it doesn't happen.
It's a prediction.
It's a prediction. Good. A couple years ago, not a couple, it's been more than a couple at this point, Hurricane Harvey hit Houston right before Labor Day. Okay. Houston was underwater. And I was getting ready for Labor Day weekend. I was downtown and I saw one of the owners of a restaurant. I said, hello, how are you doing? How's your Labor Day work looking? And he's like, you know what? It's not looking good. Because if we looked at last year's numbers, 60% of our credit cards that were swiped had Houston zip codes attached to them. And now Houston's underwater and they can't travel. They can't even get out of the city. So he's like, our Labor Day is probably not going to be what we anticipated it being. Okay. So sometimes things happen. So our forecast is what we're looking at to predict the future. When we want to increase by a percentage, we want to multiply the original number, whatever the percentages that we're given, and we're going to do some examples. Okay. We're going to multiply that number by the percentage. And then we're going to add that answer to the original number. We're going to increase beyond what we started with. Okay. Same thing with decreasing. We're going to still multiply, but because we're decreasing, what's the opposite of addition? Subtraction. Then we're going to subtract what is that from that original number. Okay. So we're going to do a couple of examples of addition and subtraction above and beyond the budgeted. Okay. So, oops. All right. So if we want to increase by 3% from 2000, okay? So our first step, you'll see right here, is 2000 times 0.03. Remember, we're going to move that decimal place over. When it's 3%, move that decimal place back over 2, and then fill in the gap with the 0. Okay, that's where we get the 0.03. What is 2000 times 0.03? 60. And then at my second step, I'm going to add. So my new budgeted forecasted number is 2060. So my number for this year was 2000. I want to increase by 3%. My new number is 2060. You guys see how that works? All right, let's look at another one. Increase by 2.5% from 5,000. 5,000 times what?
0.025.
0.025. It's important to have that 0. A lot of times students will see that and they're like, I'm going to do 0.25. Well, that's 25%. That's too big. Okay. So what is 5,000 times 0.025? .025 times 5,000.
Is it 12.5?
125?
Mhm.
That sounds right. Okay. If you did 12.5, then that means your decimal was just off by 1 place. So we add those two together and we have 5,125 is our new forecasted number above that. Okay. Real quick, shortcut. What is 5,000? Oops. What is 5,000 times 1?
5,000.
5,000, right? Well, this 1 actually represents 100%. Right? If we took 100% and moved our decimal place over, we get 1. So 5,000 times 1 is 5,000, right? And we added these two numbers together. So if we add these two numbers together, 1.025, then our one-step shortcut is to just multiply 5,000 times 1.025, and we're good to go. So whatever our percentage is, 3%, 0.03, add a 1 in front. That's the 100. Try it on your calculator if you want to. 2,000 times 1.03, your answer will be 2,060. Because your calculator is multiplying the 1 and it's also multiplying the 0.03 at the same time. Okay, so shortcut, two-step process. If the two-step process makes sense to you, do the two-step process. Don't do the shortcut. Okay, let's subtract for now. Let's decrease in percentages. Okay, so if we decrease by 5%, now in this case, you'll notice I had to put the larger number, the original number up top. Okay, so what is 15 times 0.05? 15,000 times 0.05 is 750.
Yep.
That sounds right. And now my second step is to subtract because I'm decreasing. So my answer is 14,250. Okay. Simple going up and down based on percentages. So 750 is 5% of 15,000. And I want to decrease by that amount. So my answer, I'm going to put my dollar sign just so we don't get confused. That is money, 14,250. Okay. And the one on the bottom, we're decreasing by 1.5%. What is 1,200 times 0.015? Times 0.015. You can use calculators, that's okay.
18.
18? I'm sorry, if someone said I didn't hear it, I apologize. So we subtract and we get not 1982. I don't know why I put that there. 1182. 1182. Questions, comments, concerns about increasing or decreasing by percentages? All right. The next thing we're going to talk about is income statements. These are often called a P&L. A P&L stands for profit or loss. Okay. Sales always, always, always equals 100%. Sales always equals 100%. Okay. And it's always at the top because we have to subtract everything else from that. So if you think about our formula, sales minus expenses equals what? Sales minus expenses, what formula is that?
To equal your
Our
profit.
profit. That's our profit or loss, exactly, okay? So our profit or loss statement is sales minus expenses is equal to profit or loss, okay? So I'm gonna do some algebra real quick. Everyone pay attention.
You said we wouldn't have to do algebra.
I know, but I'm going to show you how you're actually going to use it where you actually benefits you. Okay. If sales is 100%, if we do one thing to one side, what do we have to do to the other? The same thing.
Same.
So see, you have to know algebra rules. Sales is equal to 100%. That means that expenses and your profit is also equal to 100%. Okay? Those two sides of the equation have to equal each other. Now, the only reason, not the only reason, this is important to know, but one main reason why I'm doing this is because there is a question on your final exam that is like this. So I want to make sure I have covered it in class. Okay. So my sales is a dollar amount, $3 million. And remember, sales is equal to what? 100%. Now, if I ask you, how much do you have for a labor budget? How much is your labor budget? Well, I've got dollars up top and I have percentages on the bottom. How do I figure out my dollar amount in labor?
You gotta find out how much everything else is first.
Okay, so these are all given. And those all equal what? If I added all those up, it would equal to what? Same side of our equation is 100% and 100%. You guys following me so far? So now, if all this is equal to 100%, 100, 25 plus 15 plus X. No, we don't want to see that X in there. Plus 21 plus 11. Okay. What is 25 plus 15?
40.
40. Cool. Plus 21? 61. Plus 11?
72.
72. So if all of these are equal to 72, 72 plus X, you want to subtract 72,
20.
and X is equal to 28. Okay, we just did algebra. Yay, team. Okay, so this is 28%. Now, do you have a piece of information that can take a total sales and figure out the dollar amount, the cost amount with a percentage? What tool do we have? A triangle tool. Cost, percent, sales. What am I looking for? I'm looking for labor cost. I cover up cost. What is my percentage? 28% times 3 million. 28% of 3 million is 840,000. So that tells me I have $840,000 to spend on labor. Wages, salary, benefits, taxes, all of that is encompassed in labor. Okay. So let's do this next one. Okay. What percentage is our profit? How do we find that percentage? We're going to add up all of our other percentages and subtract from 100.
10%.
Okay, good. So we are at 10%. And what is 10% of 100,000? How many zeros in 10?
10,000.
1. So we cross off 1 0 and we have 10,000 left. So that is my profit of $10,000. Okay.
Damn,
Profit.
if you're making that kind of profit, can you spare some money?
I don't know. I mean, that's maybe only for a month. That may only be for a certain period of time. It may not. $10,000 seems like a lot of profit, but if you're only making that for a month, then that's not like a whole lot of profit. Yeah. All right. So when we're looking at, go ahead, Nayeli.
Why didn't you do the other process? No.
Yeah, what other process? Because I didn't write it out, but we did it in our heads. Right? So if this is 100%, these all equal 100%. Right? And so if we add up these numbers, we get 90%. And so if 90 compared to 100, we're off by 10%. That's how we got that. I just kind of rushed through it, so I apologize. All right, so when we budget for our expenses, we can look and see what our most expensive categories are. So as we're planning, we can figure out what areas maybe we need to, cut back a little bit on. Okay. Oftentimes when we're budgeting our expenses, that's where this triangle comes into play. Our triangle says, okay, our sales are 25,000. We project $25,000 in sales. If we project $25,000 in sales, and we want to figure out what is our food cost, we want to maintain a 32% food cost percentage. And that's going to equal some number, which is
8,000.
8,000. Okay. So that tells me I have $8,000 to spend on my food. Okay. We can also do it the opposite direction. That's why this triangle is really helpful. You can do it the opposite direction. I know I'm going to spend $3,250 on food. Cost percent sales. I know I'm going to spend that kind of money on the ingredients, and I want to maintain a 29% food cost. So I cover up my sales, and what do I get? 32,000 or 3,250 divided by 29% is equal to 11,206. So I should be looking at bringing in that amount of money. When I look at my P&L, this sales number should be 11,206, and my food costs should be at 3,250 if I'm going to maintain that 29%. Okay, that's my budget. Now, I actually have to now assess those results. Okay, did I meet that budget in sales? Did I meet that budget in expenses? Okay, we are going to go over this on Tuesday. We're going to start Tuesday by wrapping up chapter 2. I don't want to rush through this, okay? Because this is really important. This is where a lot of businesses go wrong, right? How many of y'all have seen the like 3 breakfast tacos for $1? Like that special, or like I don't, that special's not really around that much anymore, right? But or like three tacos for $2.50. Are you really making money on those tacos? Okay.
Depends on
we
the
have-
billing.
We have one more thing that we're going to cover. I'm just going to say I'm going to go back to just a second, but this type of things where businesses typically go wrong. Okay. In my management leadership class, we've talked about the endless shrimp promotion with Red Lobster. They lost $11 million because they didn't price their shrimp appropriately, and they underestimated how much shrimp people can actually eat. Okay, people ate way more shrimp than they were supposed to, according to the recipe, I guess. Okay, but here's the thing: they lost $11 million. Did that $11 million, were they short in a week? Was it over the period of a month or 2 months or 3 months? At what point did they realize, holy crap, we've lost $1 million? How did it get to $11 million? Right? And by not doing that analysis and not comparing what you budgeted to your actual performance, you can get in a really bad spot pretty quick. Okay. I'm going to go over this example, and this is the reason why is because in your chapter 2 quiz, this is one of the last questions on your chapter 2 quiz. I want to make sure I've gone over this for you. Okay. This combines both the budget increase as well as the triangle. Okay, so it combines both things we've talked about in chapter 2. So last period, our food costs were $43,250. We want to increase our cost by 2.5%. So we have to do that first, okay? And then I want to maintain a 30% food cost. So what should my sales be for the new period? Okay? So last period, my food costs were 43,250. If I want to increase, what do I have to multiply by? 0.025, right? That's this 2.5% increase. So if I do that, 43,250 times 0.025, I get 1,081.25. Okay, so that's my increase. And what's my second step? I have to do what? I have to add it to my original number of 43,000. Oops, my numbers are off a little bit. $43,250. I have to add that together. Okay, 113, 3, 4, 4. So my new food cost is now $44,331.25. That's my new forecasted budgeted. And now, yes,
So the X is like a time symbol of what you're doing to the 400.
yes, I'm multiplying 43,000 times 200, like 43,250 times 0.025. Yes. I just use those numbers, I have to rewrite them. Okay, now I use my triangle. Cost, percent, sales. What is my cost? 44,000, that is my cost right here, okay? And what number am I looking for? I'm looking for my new sales. I'm gonna cross that out. I'm gonna divide by my cost percentage of 30%.
So
When
why,
I do, sorry, go ahead.
why not 2.5?
The 2.5 is just the increase. That's the first step. Okay. The second step of this process is now we're going to figure out what is our new sales number. Okay. And that food cost percentage is going to be at 30%. So 4431 or 331.25 times 0.3 is, that's not right. Divided, I times, I just should have multiplied, or I should have divided. 44,331.25 divided by 0.3 is 147,770 and 84 cents. 84 cents. Okay, that's my new number. That is my projected budgeted sales number that I have to go for. Okay, so we basically took, just in the last minute that I have with you, I basically took this concept of increasing by a percentage first, and then we did this concept of applying that food cost percentage to budget for what our sales number should be. Okay, so due on Tuesday will be your chapter 2 quiz. We should be all caught up with that. Those homework, we should be back on track with that. Okay. We'll start with this assessing on Tuesday, and we'll also do chapter 3 on Tuesday. Okay. Thank you so much.
Mr.
If you came in late, please come see me so I can get your attendance.